happening? Okay, so let's see if I can get this right. There we go. Okay, so you have to excuse my sketching. I'm just going to create a very basic sketch. Something like this, right? So this is just sort of sketching out an idea of what I want the key fob to look like. Maybe with radii like this. And then we're going to put a round button in the middle. Okay, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to get fussy about the sketch. I'm going to snip that out and quickly save that as. Okay, now you need to save it. If you're going to use it in SolidWorks, you need to save it as a PNG or a JPEG. I'm going to replace my existing sketch. TIFF files won't work. Alright, so that's kind of this program's function done for now. Let's hop over to SolidWorks. Okay. Anyone else joined? No, we're all. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Abu King. Oh, hi, Abu King.
Hi, Phil.
How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks. It's a bit cold. No, well, warming up now. All right, good to have you. Okay, so I'm actually going to delete. No, let's just start a new one. Giving you a preview of what we're doing. Because I was practicing before we started, because that's always a good idea. Okay, so new part. Alright, so this is called multi-body parts because in the part environment you can actually have lots of bodies, and you can use a part file as an assembly file, and quite often people do use this. We're not going to do that exactly today, but I'm going to start a new sketch on the top plane, and then for those who've watched my video on how to create the suit, the stool seat, you'll be familiar with this. But for those who are not, this is going to be very helpful because you can create a sketch of a top and a side and a whatever view you want, and you can bring it into a sketch. So you've got to have a sketch open, and then you go to Tools, Sketch Tools, and then near the bottom here there's this command Sketch Picture. If you click on that, it'll take you to the last sort of file location that you opened. In this case it's the images where I've just dropped that PNG file. I've saved it, so I'm going to click on that and it'll drop the sketch in at the location point. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, quite a bit because it's quite large. And then this blue line here is just a way of scaling the sketch. So at the moment I know that this should be about 30 millimeters across. So what I do is I grab the left hand side of the sketch, drag it to one side of the sketch, and then when I grab this other side and I drag it across to the right hand side and I let go, I'll get this sizing dialog box. So I'm going to type in here 30 and hit enter. Okay, my sketch has disappeared just because it scaled it, and you can see how far away it puts the sketch from my origin point. So once that's done, that blue line's job is done. Don't use it for anything else. It's gonna give you heartache. I'm gonna drag that to close to my origin point, and I want to use the circle as my origin point, roughly like that. Okay. Alright, so now I know this thing that line represents 30 millimeters, and I've basically got it all sorted. And I can go to the right hand side here and I can say under transparency that I want this to be transparent a little bit, so it disappears a bit. Okay, any questions about that so far? Kutso, good to see you here. I got your message on Signal. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Huh? Never mind, you can tell me later. No questions, everyone happy so far? Okay, cool. All right, so once I'm still in the sketch environment, to see if I can get rid of this little bar. Go away. Won't minimize, will it? Will. No. Okay, so I'm still in the sketch environment. I can now sketch onto or over this what would you call it? This picture. If I need to move the picture, I can just double click it and move it about a little bit, and then double click on the outside. No, you can't. You need to right click and say OK. All right, so quick sketch in here. Let's see if I can make this quite quick. So I'm going to put in side view. Actually, I'm doing it. I keep doing this. What you should be doing every time you're doing something which is symmetrical is right clicking, going to your dynamic mirror entities, and then select the center line that you want to mirror around, and then everything that you sketch around that center line will automatically repeat on the right hand side. So I drew a little bit skew there. I'm going to put this relationship in, and then I want to do something like that. And in fact, when I originally sketched this, I sketched it slightly different, and so I'm going to copy my original idea, which was something like this. Right. Okay, so you can see how nice this the centerline thing is, because I just drew on one side. That's not the right command, and it fills it in for me. So 10 millimeters. Let's see if that'll work. It's going to be too big. Type in 6 and see if that'll work. Let's try that again. So I'm doing it. That's the fillet command, by the way. Okay, so some quick dimensions. We want a width. That'll be 30.
I'm sorry, Phil.
Yeah.
Is your screen zoomed in, or is that an issue on my side?
It
Like,
is
I
zoomed.
can't see all the borders of SolidWorks. Or is that an error on my side?
Hold on. I'm just going to close.
It's you, because I can see fine.
Can you see?
Okay.
Is it better now?
I'm going to disconnect and reconnect.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, yeah, please, anytime, any problems that you're facing, just let me know, so see if I can address it, because, you know, it could be on my side. All right, so quickly, I'm going to drop in some dimensions here. So let's make that 20. Let's give it a,
Thank you.
is it working now?
Yeah.
Let's go to 11. Okay, let's make it 38. I'm going to make that my driving dimension. There we go. And the only thing I need to do now is quickly put in some tangents, if they'll work. I don't think this, yeah, it'll work. Okay, and then that one, tangent. Right, fully defined sketch, which is what I'm always after. So we're going to exit that. And then right now I have no need for the sketch picture anymore, so I'm going to suppress it so that it's just out of the way. Okay, and then I should be able to select this and just drag extrude. Okay, and if I want to change it dimensionally, double click on it.
Phil, would
Yeah.
you say it's better to use instant 3D or boss extrude?
It doesn't matter. Makes no difference. They're the same thing. It's
Okay.
just that the one you're just grabbing the sketch line, and the other one you just. It's the same thing. It's a very actually later on
It
I'll
has
show
to
you.
be defined, otherwise it doesn't move. Am I right?
Sorry.
For the instant 3D, the sketch has to be fully defined, otherwise it won't move.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. You can have any old sketch you want. Let's quickly do that just to show you. I'm going to go to right plane. I'm just going to sketch any old thing. Let's even do a spline. Okay, I'm going to exit the sketch. There's my sketch, right? You may be right, hey? It should actually, yeah, I don't know about fully defined though. I think it might need to be closed. Let's see. Okay, it just needs to be closed, that's all. Does that help you, Hamza?
Yeah.
All right,
Perfect.
so just fully do. I think it needs to be. I might not even need to be closed. It's just sorry. This is out of interest. Let's quickly edit this. Let's delete that. Okay, let's make it. Let's do this. Didn't work. Come on. Sorry, sometimes. Alright, so that's not a closed sketch, but it has an enclosed space. Okay, yeah, it seems it has to be enclosed before it'll do 3D. So good point there. Thanks, Hamza. Alright, so back onto this piece here. I'm now going to place a... no, first of all, let's do this. I want to put a sketch in at the top here, and I want to use this curve and that curve, and I want to offset them 10 millimeters, let's say 4. 4 might be too large. Let's try 3. Why is it not doing this? Okay, so let me try that again. So I'm going to put a sketch on that plane, and I'm going to select 1, 2 lines, holding the shift button down. I'm going to say offset 3 mils. Okay, let's try it with just 1. Okay, with 1 it's doing it. Let's try that again with another one. For some reason it was reading that needed to be connected. Right, I can't figure that out. It should actually have done the whole lot together. Never mind. Okay, so because I'm a bit lazy, I'm going to draw in something like this, and I'm not going to bother trimming it. I'm just going to give it some relationships and a dimension. Let's make that 34, and let's get from there, shift, make that 29, and then just give this a width. It doesn't matter, that can stay as it is. Okay, I think it needs, to fully define this, it needs to have the 2 points of the arc symmetrical around this part here. There we go. So nice and black. Okay, exit that. And I want to punch a hole through this thing, which is going to be the sort of the back end of the key holder, where the key ring goes through. So I think I can select a line and then go to extrude cut, and then in the sketch contours I can clear that, and I can just say that area there is what I want. Okay, so I'm going through this quickly because I don't want to waste time sort of fixing everything up perfectly. Then the next thing I want to do, actually I can reuse that sketch. No, let's do another one. Let's put another sketch in here, and I want to actually I'm going to leave this alone. That's good enough. Right, so the idea here is that you create your basic shape, and then we're going to split it, and then we're going to use the split parts to detail exactly what we want inside. So I'm going to hollow out this part using the shell command, and then we're going to put ribs and bosses and all sorts of nice things inside. But for now, I'll just show you how to split this. So this is going to become the basis for the model, and I'm going to put the other things inside. Then I'll come back to this model and show you how I can drive changes in both of the other models just using this basic idea. Does that sound good to you? A new right plane sketch. I'm going to put in a line, just a straight line, though later on I'll show you how you can use sort of a curved line to create an unusual split line. So I'm going to put a dimension in here. Let's make that 3.5. Right, and don't need to define this, but we'll just do so. Why is it not defining? Okay, just needs to be made horizontal. There we go. Okay. Right, so the only dimension I really needed there was the height. You don't always have to define every single sketch. Sometimes you can get away with not doing it. Okay, so I'm going to now extrude this using a surface. So in your surfaces tab, which should be the third one from the left, you can get on the very left hand side the most basic surface command is the extrude surface command, and you'll see straight away that I get a little arrow here. I can drag this out or I can type it in, but I want the surface to go both ways. So on the left hand side under direction 2, I click in the little tick box, and I'm going to just, yeah, that's good enough. All right, so
direction 1, if you select mid plane, does it do the same thing?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, so you should be able to go from mid plane, nice one there, and just go 26. It's a simpler way of doing it. Certainly. Thanks Hamza. That's a good little tip. All right, so this is going to become my cutting plane. How are we doing for time? Yeah, not too bad. Okay, so I don't know. Can you guys see what's going on? Is this little tab at the top hiding or showing this what's happening in SolidWorks? The zoom tab. Is there only me that can see it? No. All right. Okay. Let's hope that this works. So under features, yeah. All right. I'm going to just drag this down because I can't see what's going on. You have to figure that out. All right, I'm going to save this for now. So Control S, and then put it in here. I'm going to call it 2. So I like reusing file names. So I right click on the file name. It pops it into my file name dialog, and then I can just add something to it, and I don't have to do extra work. Okay, right, so now that I've got this saved, under features you'll see the very right hand side here there's a split command, and it's going to ask you first of all which templates you want to use. So obviously I'm going to use my part template for the parts and the assembly template for the assembly. And now it's going to ask you on the left hand side here, you'll see it'll say what is the trim tool that you want to use. As far as I know, it has to be a plane or some sort of feature which has directionality. So a single line you wouldn't be able to use because it wouldn't know whether you wanted to go up or down or left to right. But a plane has got directionality, goes from it goes from left to right or whatever it does. You can also use a complex curve as a splitting surface as well, so that goes in more than one direction. So once you've got that, you can cut the body, but before that, just decide, do you want to consume the cut bodies, in which case it'll delete the original body and only leave the other two behind, or not. And I can't remember what this one does. Let's leave it unticked. I'll get back to you on that. So once you're happy with the fact that you're going to, I want to keep this, by the way, because I want to use it to drive changes in my other bodies. And I want all bodies, but you can do selected bodies. So you can like trim some of it away and keep some and discard the others. So cut bodies. And so it immediately shows you that we've got 1, 2 bodies, right? There's the lower half and the upper half. I just want to make sure that I name these correctly. So I want this one, body 2, to be the upper half. So I can double click here. And I'm going to rename that one there. Or reuse that name. Keyfob 2 upcasing. Enter. And you'll see the name now appears in this dialog box on the left. Let's go to the lower one, double click on that. Okay, so we're going to run out of time in 15 minutes, I think, or 10 minutes. Time goes fast, way too quickly. Okay, so I'm going to reuse the lower casing here, the lower casing name, type in 2. Okay, and once I'm happy with that, I should be able to click the OK button. Am I getting an error message? Okay, so now there's just a little bit of a problem with the dimension. Somewhere along the line it's changed dimensions to inches on those two models. I've just said yes, keep it as metric. I want to make sure, has anyone else joined the meeting so I can mark you as present? Jacob, no, that's it. Any questions so far? None. Okay, so I should now have those two parts as separate parts. So I've used my gestures command to go to my open documents. I always like to put that in this in the thing. So I'm going to go to the first one, just make sure that I know what this one is. So this is the lower casing, right? I actually don't want to deal with that one. I want to deal with the next one, which is the upper casing. Okay, so here you can see it says upper casing. Right, so I just need to make sure that whatever I do is based on the origin. So I'm not sure at the moment if that's the top plane. So in fact, this will be the top plane of my part. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to give this a draft taper. So I'm going to go to draft. I've selected this face, so that's the neutral plane, and then I want to draft all of these side faces and those internal ones. Okay, it's selected 1 degree, which is fine for my purposes. Done it. Okay, so you should be able to see, if you look carefully, you'll see that it's tapering from that point up to this point. So I now want to shell this. I'm going to use the shell command. And I want that shell to be, let's say, about 0.9 millimeters. So it's showing that this is the face it's going to remove, and everything inside it's going to leave as a 0.9 millimeter thing. And I can also then say, well, actually I want these sidewalls to be 0.9, but I want that top wall there to be 1 mil. So I'm going to click in here in the second multi-thickness settings box, click on that face, and let's make that 1.1, 1.2. Okay, and there we go, we've got it shelled. Alright, so now I've actually done something which is a little bit criminal in terms of modeling this sort of thing, in that I haven't put some of the radii in, or the fillets. So I'm going to do that deliberately as a kind of a mistake. But first of all, I'm going to put these fillets in, which these major fillets, these downwards fillets, you want to put in after you've drafted, because if you don't, then you'll get sort of the fillet will grow from, say, a fillet of 6 here to a fillet of 6.2 at the bottom, which from a tooling point of view is a nightmare. So you want to try and keep that consistent. So I'm going to put those fillets in on those corners. It's defaulting to 10. It needs to be about 2. 2 is good enough. Let's put it in here as well. Okay, and so you can see it hasn't actually kept this wall consistent with that outer wall. So this is something I noticed on the first exercise. If you've done something like that, you've done something out of sequence, which happens to all of us, all you need to do is drag the command that you want to precede the one that depends on it to a higher position. So now the shell depends on that fillet, and if I flip that over, you can see it's now filleted the inside of this piece for me as well. Okay, so the same thing could apply at the top. Let's put a fillet in there, which I've got as 2. Let's make it 1 point. Alright, so now you've got to be careful because your wall thickness is 0.9, so the fillet on the outside needs to be a little bit larger than that. So let's make it 1. Okay, and in fact that's not going to influence anything because there is nothing to influence. A 1 millimeter fillet here minus 0.9 will give you 0.1 of a millimeter, which if I drag that fillet, you'll see the shell doesn't like this because there's now an error. That fillet is too much of a problem in trying to fillet in these places here. So I'm going to reverse that, go Control Z, and then if I want to introduce a fillet in here, a very small one, I can. So let's make that 0.2. Alright, so that's done it on the whole face. Okay, any questions so far? Just see how much time we have left. 13:45, so I think I started 5 minutes earlier, so we might only have till 13:40. Is that right? Anyone? Never mind. Let's see. If I cut out, I'll see you at 2 o'clock. Okay, so
Thomas says there's 3.5 minutes left.
3.5. Oh my goodness. All right, so let me show you why we've got that 3.5 minutes. So I'm going to go back to my original one. Let's say I figure no, this opening is too big or too small. I want to change it, but I need to now change it on both parts. So that would mean I have to go from one part and change it, go to the other part and change it. What I can do now with this method is I can go straight to this part, and let's just hide this baby. It's out of the way, and double click on here. And I'm going to say, we're not going to get it, it's this one here. Let's say I want to make that much smaller. Let's say 34. Hopefully that works. Okay, so you can see how much smaller it's made it. If I now go to this one here, you can see it's made it much smaller. So I can drive major changes using that original file, and they'll update all the dependent files that I have. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to this one and do that again, just to see if I can amaze you. But you guys aren't being amazed. Where are you? Have I chosen the right file? I haven't. Okay, that's pretty neat, don't you think? So this should help you. Let's make this a lot smaller, 22. Will that work? This should help you in, this should help you in lots of models that you're going to be doing. There we go. There's that file. Let's go back to this one. Okay, updated. So I think the meeting is about to end. Is that right? I don't. My meeting's not showing me how much time I have left. Oh, here it is. 1 minute 20. Okay. Any questions before we go? No.
So I want to know, how did you separate the two files so that they were still linked, or the two parts?
Yeah, you can delink them if that's what you want to do. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, because the whole point of this, huh?
No, I mean separated. Once you created the split,
There are,
you
there
were
are
only working on one side. Where did the other side go?
Okay, just let me show you. We're actually here. Look at the top here. Keyfob 2 uppercasing. Okay, so this is a separate part now. Okay, and if I go to this one, here, have a look at that name. That's the lowercasing. Look, I haven't.
It's because, okay, I get it. You saved it as two different parts. Okay.
Yes. When you split it, it actually saves it as two different parts. Sorry, and then it saves it as an assembly. So it's but these are all linked. That's the beauty of it.
Perfect.
Does that make sense? So you can drive big changes on the primary file, and it'll update them on the smaller ones without a problem. Okay, I will see you shortly.